Greetings, barbecue family. Welcome to another live episode of the Backyard Smokemaster Barbecue Podcast. I'm your host, Kenyatta Robinson. I always say this is the best hour of the week. It's the hour that we all can get together and talk about our favorite pastime, our favorite hobby, our love, which is barbecue. So I'm always happy and excited that you took some time out of your start of your weekend to hang out with me and talk about barbecue and chop it up. So please don't hesitate to jump into the comments. If you have a comment, a question, anything related to what we're talking about, or just anything in particular about barbecue, all comments are welcome as long as they are, PG. Just had to put that out there. But again, your comments are the engine that drives the show. So I do appreciate you all tuning in. So today we're going to talk about pellets. Not all pellets are created equal. There are some significant differences from one pellet to the next. And a lot of times you do get what you pay for, much like a lot of other things out on the consumer market. So there are definitely some differences between pellets. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and kind of give you some things to look for, some things to avoid when it comes to your pellet selection for your pellet smoker. Now, I do want to point out that I did just do a video that came out earlier this week, if you haven't had a chance to check it out. So I took a look at I took a look at Royal Oak. This was my first time seeing it. I'm not quite sure when these first came onto the market, but Royal Oak now has pellets that are made 100% from charcoal. So in this video, I decided to do a comparison testing, I cooked a couple of chickens on my two pellet grills. So I did one with the 100% charcoal pellets, and the other I used Royal Oak briquettes to see if there were, what the differences were. Is 100% charcoal pellets, is that really a viable option, or is it just like a marketing ploy? And I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later, but pretty interesting results. The results did surprise me. So when you do get a chance, go check that video. Check out that video. So right off the top, I would say when it comes to the quality of pellets, the main issue that you need to look for is that a lot of pellets, they'll say on the bag, you go to the store and you've got different flavors to choose from. Typically, you'll see cherry, apple, pecan, hickory, oak. Sometimes you might see maple, you might see alder, but pretty much the standard fare. But the number one issue is that even though the bags say that the flavor is one thing, if you take a deep dive and you look very closely at the ingredients, or what these pellets are made from, a lot of the manufacturers unfortunately don't necessarily use 100% of the wood that they say that they're using. So they might say, you might think that you're getting a bag of cherry pellets, but then, if you do a deep dive, you come to find out that it might only be 20% cherry, and maybe the rest of it is comprised of a different type of wood, some type of a filler. A lot of the companies use oak as a filler, or they might use alder. So you might think you're getting, all hickory or all cherry, and you're really not. And when they do have these combinations, of different types of wood, they're not necessarily even telling you what the percentage is. So we don't know if it's 80% cherry, 25% cherry. It could be mostly cherry, or it could be very little. Very little of it could be comprised of cherry. So that's really kind of the pitfall when it comes to just going off of the name that they say on the bag. So you kind of have to do a little bit of research. And there are some companies out there, and I'm going to mention a few brands that I do have a lot of confidence in. That what they say on the bag is what's actually on the inside of the bag. So there are some companies where you can be pretty sure that you're getting 100% of what they say it is. But before we go any further, let's jump into the comments and say hello to the community. See who we've got tuning in with us today. All right, good to see Mike. Good to see you again, Mike. Bones Barbecue. You can find Mike on Instagram. Bones Barbecue, and of course, Mike is a guy that does some cooking for a living, and he's got a stick burner, and he's saying oak wood split. So he's I think he's trying to tell us he's not messing around with pellets. He's going for the real deal McCoy wood splits, and I'm not mad at that. But I do think there is a place. There is a place for pellet smokers. I often say maybe not necessarily should be the one and only barbecue pit that you have. But if you've got something that cooks with charcoal or with wood, having a pellet grill as a good backup on that weeknight when you don't have a lot of time to cook can come in handy. And it also comes in handy for cooking some sides and maybe some other things as well. So I don't want to, completely crap all over the notion about pellet grills, but there is no question that the skill level needed to cook on a pellet grill is not in the same league as cooking with like a stick burner. All right. Jeff says, greetings all. Always great to see you, Jeff. Always appreciate you coming in. And let's see. Jeff also says, I'm not sure it's a favorite, but I generally use Cabela's, the store brand from Bass Pro Shop. It's readily available and good quality. All right, well that's a good tip. I've never used Cabela's, mostly because we don't have Bass Pro Shops nearby. I think the nearest one, I'm in the Bay Area, and I think the nearest one might be like headed out towards the Sacramento area. So I just haven't had a chance, but that's good to know. Good information. Appreciate that. Mike says, I'm going to shock everyone. Oh, okay, Mike, wait a minute. I am shocked. Mike, I thought you were strictly a stick burner, maybe a wood split charcoal guy, but okay. Mike is admitting that he does cook with pellets, and he says, I'm going to shock everyone, but I actually like the Kirkland brand pellets from Costco. Okay, I haven't tried Kirkland's brand. And I know, true to a lot of things that have the Kirkland branding on it, most likely there's another company that's probably making these pellets. So I think the Kirkland, I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that the Kirkland brand briquettes are made by Royal Oak, I think. And if it's not Royal Oak, it's probably Kingsford. So I'm not quite sure. I wonder if anybody knows who Kirkland uses to produce their pellets, and then they sell it under their name. But that's good to know as well. And we've got Correctional Officer for Lockdown, Bruce, says, good evening, everyone. I hate I missed my oncoming music theme, but my wife just arrived and I had to help with some groceries. Well, you got to make sure that the wife is taken care of. Happy wife, happy life. I know we all can absolutely relate to that. And Bruce also says, saying shout out to Mike. Definitely enjoy hearing about your cooks. Let's see. Okay, Jeff says, go Mike, no shade on Kirkland. Costco owns me. I think we all, if we have a Costco membership, we've all spent way more money, than we would like to admit at Costco. But, if you got a membership, you may as well use it. Kind of funny here in where I am, the Costco and Sam's Club are literally on the same street, maybe a mile apart. So, needless to say, I'm spending a lot of money at both. Let's see. All right, we'll look at a couple more. Bruce says, I was at one time looking at a Yoder pellet smoker. They look nice, but I'm not ready for a Yoder. So that's the thing with pellet smokers. I mean, there are a ton to choose from. I know the Yoder YS640 is a very popular model pellet smoker that Yoder makes that has been around for a long time, built like a tank, has stood the test of time. But there are just so many to choose from. Of course, you've got Traeger's, Weber is now in the market. Oh my goodness, just too many. Camp Chef. I'm sure I'm blanking on a whole bunch, but there's just a lot of different pellet smokers to choose from with a lot of bells and whistles. Lone Star Grills has a pellet smoker. They've even got a cabinet pellet smoker now. So yeah, it's just a lot to choose from. Let's see, and Mike does admit that he does have a Traeger. Uses it for the family when I don't have time to man a fire. So that's exactly why I think having a pellet smoker is good to have. Again, if you're getting into barbecue, I would say don't make a pellet smoker be your one and only grill, because then you're not learning how to barbecue, because you're just dumping the pellets into the hopper, setting the temperature, and then it's a set it and forget it experience. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, it has its time and its place, but if you really want to learn and master the art of barbecue, get yourself a charcoal smoker, charcoal grill, learn how to manage the temperature, manage fire. And, if you've still got the bug and you want an even bigger challenge, of course, you can graduate to a stick burner or something like that. Just make sure it's not a cheap offset. And then Mike says, by the way, I'm pretty sure that Pit Boss makes Kirkland pellets. Okay, that would make sense. I think I have also seen Pit Boss, like their own branded pellets at Costco. So yeah, it would make sense if they have that type of a relationship where they're producing the pellets, for Kirkland. So, all right, so that's all good information to have. All right, let's continue. Let's continue the conversation here. Okay, so what makes a pellet authentic? So again, as I talked to you at the beginning, really what you want to find in terms of what I consider an authentic pellet is going to be one that's 100% made from the wood that it says on the bag. And this can make a difference when it comes to smoke. So I think a lot of people do believe and will argue that sometimes, it doesn't matter what type of pellet flavor you're using, because it's all going to produce a fairly light flavor, especially when compared to charcoal or something else. I know that was like a common argument that was made some years ago. But I think things might be starting to change. I can attest. For instance, I've been using Smokin Pecans pellets, and those are 100% made from the pecan shell. And those do give, I'm not going to say it's as strong a smoke flavor is what you get from cooking with, with wood chunks, with charcoal or wood splits, obviously. But there is a significant difference when compared to kind of your traditional pellets. And, spoiler alert, in this video that I just did on the YouTube channel, the Royal Oak 100% pellets made from charcoal, there was also some things that were very notable and different about it when compared to like your regular pellets as well. Again, not saying that it's, the same as cooking with charcoal, but there is definitely a detectable smoke flavor, with these types of pellets. So I think we're beginning to see a change. And then, again, if you're wanting to cook with cherry pellets, you want the smoke flavor and the characteristics, to be consistent with what you would get from cooking with cherry wood. Not going to be the same, but you want it to, you want to at least be able to recognize it as being cherry smoke. Common sense tells you, though, if that pellet that you're using, if you're using a brand that uses fillers or they're combining, the cherry wood with oak wood, then, the smoke characteristics that you get are going to be different. And again, a lot of them do use oak. And to me, I consider oak to be, and maybe some of you might disagree, but in my opinion, oak is kind of a neutral smoke in terms of the flavor. When I'm cooking with oak wood splits, I mostly like it because they cook hotter, than a lot of the other woods. So you're getting a lot of heat from the oak. And, when it's a clean smoke, it's just a clean smoke flavor, just very different from other flavors, smoke flavors like hickory or cherry even. I keep using cherry. So, so I think obviously if you're using pellets that, have that type of a combination, it's going to change the characteristics of the smoke that you're using. So I think that's very much a big deal. All right, let me get back over into the comments, see what you guys are saying over here in our community. Let's see. Okay. Jeff says, I think he's talking. Let's see. Oh, he says, what? You mean there are people that only have one grill? Yeah. Well, when you're starting out, you're going to likely start with one. But yeah, once you get bit by that bug, you're definitely going to end up with, some other, with other grills, other smokers. All right. Correctional officer asks, Kenyatta, does wind play a factor in pellet grills? That's a good question. To my experience, wind has not really impacted, my cooks with pellet grills, because really the whole purpose or the benefit of cooking with a pellet smoker is that the electronics, they're going to make adjustments to the temperature automatically just based on, the temperature inside of the chamber. So if you set the temperature to be 250 degrees, it's going to fluctuate. It's going to have some points where the temperature inside is going to be 225. There's going to be points where the temperature might be 275. I mean, really what it's trying to do is to keep an average of 250. So as that temperature keeps moving, the pellet smoker, the intelligence of the pellet smoker is making adjustments on the inside, to take that into account. And I think if you have a pretty well-made pellet smoker, wind really shouldn't play a factor. I have not noted it in my own experience, so I don't know if you guys let us know in the comments, if the guys that do have pellet smokers, if you disagree, if you think that extreme wind does play a factor when you're smoking with a pellet grill. I mean, if anything, If it's a super windy day, you might choose, to go with the pellet grill because it'll be a much easier cook than being out there battling, with your charcoal based grill or your stick burner. If it's super windy. Okay, so how to identify the best smoking pellets. So the first tip is basically it's common sense. Read the label. Read what's on the back of the bag, and look carefully to see if they're mentioning any other types of woods, wood flavors. A lot of times they might use words like blend. I know it's very popular, and I think a good marketing move that they've made is to sell. A lot of the brands will sell what they call a competition blend, and so they're telling you right up front, that it's going to be a combination of different woods, and then they twist it, kind of make it sound good, and let you know that using, I don't know, oak, hickory, and maple together, is going to give you a championship smoke flavor. But look for those types of words as well. Let's see. And then, as I mentioned before, another very important tip. I'm over here looking at my notes. Very important tip. Make sure you're using pellets that are designed for cooking. So if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, you might also see pellets that are made for heating, to heat your home. So absolutely, you did not want to be cooking with those types of pellets. So make sure you're using pellets that are designated for cooking. There is a difference. Very similar, I would say, like even if you're cooking with a split burner, a split burner. My tongue is getting all tied up. If you're cooking with a stick burner, you want to make sure that you're cooking with woods that are good for cooking, as opposed to, let's say, like pine wood, for example. You never want to cook with anything like that. So these are some distinctions to look for. So let me give you guys some, just from my own experience, because I've been cooking with pellet smokers, well, probably since 2015, 2016, so about 10 years. I've had a Mac 1-star General over that entire, well, actually, that was my second pellet smoker. First, I had a Traeger Junior, and man, oh man, did I have a lot of trouble with that thing. Wild temperature fluctuations. And then I graduated to the Mac, built like a tank. And now I also have a Z Grills Backyard Warrior. And I don't want to make it sound like Traeger doesn't know what they're doing. I think over the last 5 or 6 years, Traeger has definitely upped the quality on their pellet smokers as well. So they have a lot of really good pellet smokers to choose from. But I have found that the following brands, I would recommend as ones to look for if you're looking for that 100% wood option, okay? So I've already talked about Smokin Pecan, and again, those are 100% made from pellet shells. And I'm just going to be right up front, I do have a relationship with Smokin Pecan. So if you have not tried them before, I do have a code that you can use. It's an affiliate link. If you go to their website, and then when you check out, enter Backyard Smoke Master, and you can save 10% off your first order. And again, that's only good for your very first order. But, if you do want to check them out, I would say take advantage of that. I know that Smokin Pecan is now beginning to land in some retail stores. They're based out of Louisiana. And I think most of the retail stores that they're in right now are probably in the South, in that part of the country. But I know that they're looking to expand and get into more stores. But otherwise, you can get Smokin Pecans direct from them, from their website. And it's a little more costly. I think a box is probably around 27, 28 bucks, and then you add in the shipping. So that's going to be a little bit more than what you're going to pay for your typical bag of pellets. But again, I talked about how you get what you pay for. And one of the big advantages of Smokin Pecan that I have found, not just in terms of the quality of the smoke that you get, the smoke flavor, it also produces a lot less ash than typical pellets do, and you don't burn through the pellets as quickly as you do with other brands. So it might cost more up front, but you're not going to burn through, your box of pellets nearly as fast. So I do highly recommend Smokin Pecan. A couple more that I do recommend after doing this video with the Royal Oak charcoal pellets, I do recommend them as well. And from what I can tell, their pellets are 100% made from charcoal. So that's an interesting twist that they've done on pellets. And it will be interesting to see if other brands follow suit, because that would seem like a natural, kind of like a natural marketing move, that would attract people. So I do recommend the Royal Oak charcoal pellets as well. And then I've also found there's a brand called Lumberjack, and I do believe they are also 100% made from whatever the wood says it is on the bag, and they've got all the flavors, that most of the common flavors that you would look for. And another brand that's been around for a while that I recommend is called Cookin' Pellets, and they also make 100% authentic pellets as well. All right, Bruce says, I checked in with Grill Buyers Anonymous about 2 years ago. Oh my goodness, Kenyatta doesn't know it, but he's my sponsor too. Okay, so yeah, Bruce is basically saying he's got the grill addiction. And I can attest to this. I think, Bruce, I saw a note from you even today where you were talking about, still wanting to acquire more grills, more smokers. I think you're looking at a Weber kettle, and then you're also looking at that smoke slinger. So I completely understand. I also have this affliction. I'm not quite ready to check myself into the Grill Buyers Anonymous, but it's a lot of fun to think about, the next grill, the next smoker or two. So absolutely. All right. So again, jump into the comments. Let me know, what are your favorite? I know you guys have already given me some answers to your favorite pellets. Like we heard from Jeff, who recommends, I think it was Cabela's pellets that you can get at the Bass Pro Shops. And then Mike also said that he likes to use Kirkland's pellets that are readily available at your local Costco. And we believe that those are made by Pit Boss, which is a company that does make pellet grills as well as other grills and smokers. So definitely good to know. Okay, now how pellet quality can affect barbecue. So just like we talked about before, the differences between a 100% authentic pellet made from apple is going to be different from a pellet that's made from some type of combination. So you're going to, your flavor attributes can vary based on, the composition of the pellets that you're using. And also, you should know that, just because you might see a very, inexpensive pellet brand, maybe you've never seen it before. Maybe they're talking about you can get 20 pounds, for 9.99 or something. So I would say, don't necessarily jump on that. Move with move cautiously. Maybe, get on the internet, see if you can find, what other people's experiences are. Because again, not all pellets are made equally. Um, Sometimes a less quality pellet may produce a lot more ash. And a lot of ash buildup, of course, that can contribute to the cleanup. And sometimes, and I've experienced this, when you do have too much ash, especially inside of the the fire pot, which is where the pellets get, lit, heated, burn, and combust. If you get too many ashes inside of that fire pot, that can sometimes cause a malfunction, a temporary malfunction with your pellet grill. And I have experienced this a few times partway through a cook, where I'll get a loud warning indicator letting me know that the fire pot malfunction issue and the pellet grill just shuts off, for safety reasons, and then that changes everything. So I think the quality of the pellets that you're using really can make a difference. And so overall, it's just like everything else. So higher quality pellets, are going to, I think they're gonna perform better with your pellet grill. So I think you can equate um, pellet, quality of your pellet grill with the quality of your pellets that you're using will help improve the performance of your pellet smoker. So I think that's something to be aware of. Okay, let's jump back into the comments. Let's see. Okay, Bruce says, I wonder if there ever will be if there will ever be a pellet, charcoal grill, or smoker that allows for both to be combined and used at the same time. Actually, there are. Well, I don't know about at the same time. Let me think about that. I feel like Pit Boss might be one of those brands where you can buy like a smoker that has both a pellet and charcoal component. I don't know if they can be used literally at the same time, but you guys let me know in the comments. And I think there was another new pellet grill, or I don't even want to call it a pellet grill. I'm trying to remember. I saw some videos on YouTube not too long ago, and I'm kind of blanking on what the name of the company was. Um, was it Next Grill? Oh, I guess I just can't remember, but I think they're kind of making a big splash over the past couple of weeks where it has both the ability to use, I think it was propane as well as pellets. And, you can choose which fuel to use that will work best with, whatever your cooking need is. So Bruce, clarifying, yeah, pellets, charcoals used together is what he means. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything like that on the market, that does it in tandem like that. Okay, Mike mentions, yeah, another brand that he likes is the Bear Mountain brand from Home Depot. Oh, Home Depot. You can get the gourmet blend of Bear Mountain at Home Depot. Bear Mountain is also an interesting one. It's a good one. And I know that a lot of folks really do like the Bear Mountain brand. And I've tried to verify whether or not Bear Mountain's pellets are 100% what they say they are on the bag. And I just couldn't find any information to confirm whether or not um, they are or not. Kind of seems, based on what I've seen and heard from others, I'm leaning more towards they're probably more likely to be 100% what they say they are. But again, I'm just not 1,000% sure. But I have heard a lot of people do like the Bear Mountain brand as well. So Mike is saying you can get their gourmet blend at Home Depot. So that's going to be likely be a combination of different wood types. I'm making this up, but it could be, maple, oak, cherry, some type of a combination. And I know if you go directly to their website, you should be able to order, specific wood flavors directly on their website. And I know they have, like cherry, apple, pecan, hickory. So that's another one to look at. And then Jeff says, okay, the Pit Boss Phoenix, he thinks, and I think this is in reference to Bruce's question about pellets, like a pellet charcoal cooker that can cook in tandem. So maybe it's the Pit Boss Phoenix, and he says he came across it. He thinks he came across it at Walmart. So let me see. I'm always curious. So let me see if I can do this. Okay. So we got the website or the internet. Let's see. Pit Boss Phoenix. Okay, so there's something called the Phoenix Kettle Grill. And this is the Onyx Edition. Okay, so it looks like a kettle. 376 square inches of cooking space. And it has, so it's a pellet charcoal combination. It's got a rapid starter, which is kind of like what we know the Weber Performer, I think, had the igniter as well. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. 16-pound hopper capacity. So yeah, this is definitely one that has the charcoal and pellet combination. Okay, let's see. So charcoal mode. Place a small amount of charcoal in the center of the tray. Set charcoal mode. Enjoy hands-free charcoal ignition. So you have a charcoal mode and you've got a pellet mode. So, okay, so this is a combination type cooker. So it'll allow you, to choose the mode that you think best suits your needs. So I think there are some others available on the market as well. This one's pretty interesting because it definitely has like a kettle design. A little small though. That's my take here. 376 square inches, and as Jeff said, it's available at Walmart. Okay, not sure. I don't think you guys could hear that, so I'm not going to play the video. But basically, it just kind of gives you, gives you like a little overview of their website. Okay. Of course, then I try to get fancy and do some things, and then my screens get all out of order. Okay, and then Bruce was just thanking Jeff for that. All right, so what do you guys say? Like, what do you think? Again, I'm just advocating, not all pellets created exactly the same. There's a difference in quality. There are definitely some brands that I think are more reliable than others. We talked about some of the ones that I have direct experience with, like Smokin Pecan, the Royal Oak charcoal pellets, lumberjack, cooking pellets. I think maybe Bear Mountain might fit into that category as well. We also got some recommendations again for the Kirkland brand as well as the Cabela brand as well. So again, before we get out of here, let me know, if you guys have any questions or anything barbecue related. It doesn't have to just be about pellets. And while I give you guys a chance to see if you've got any last thoughts, before we get out of here, or who knows, maybe we'll get onto another firebrand, a fiery topic. Let me again invite you all, if you enjoy this type of conversation and would like to be able to be in a community that supports your barbecue efforts and supports each other, consider joining the Backyard Smoke Masters Society. And all you have to do is click on this QR code. It will take you to the page where you can learn all about it. Or you can go to backyardsmokemaster.com/society to get more information. Okay, let's see. We got Jeff. Jeff says, yeah, low quality pellets cause a lot of feed issues, right? Pellets with fillers tend to absorb more moisture, swell, and clog the feeder. So actually, this was a good point, and this is something interesting that I did come across while I was testing out the Royal Oak charcoal pellets. One thing that they mentioned on their bag that they touted as an advantage is they said that they are, I want to make sure I get this right, moisture. Did they say that they were moisture resistant? No. Or no, I think they were saying that their pellets can get moist and it wouldn't cause you any issues, which I just found to be kind of like a wild claim. Like, I don't know why, anyone would be suggesting that, letting your pellets get even a little bit wet would be okay. Because I think pretty much any manufacturer, fabricator of a pellet grill is going to, pretty much tell you when you look at the instructions and everything and the disclosures and disclaimers, they're going to warn you about using wet pellets. So that's absolutely, I don't care what brand it is, you want to make sure you're able to keep your pellets dry. So thanks Jeff for mentioning that. And then, yeah, again, low quality pellets can cause problems. And that's really the one major downside to pellet smokers, besides, that they're not going to give you the same amount of smoke flavor, but just in terms of functionally, those types of issues can be showstoppers. And, you pretty much have to troubleshoot and figure it out, on your own for the most part. I mean, some companies you might be able to get some telephone support, but ultimately you're going to have to get out there and figure it out. Okay, correctional officer says, I'm interested in using pellets for open fire cooking. Okay, that's an interesting concept. So of course I have to ask if anyone has any experience using pellets for open fire cooking, because I'm having a hard time even envisioning, that type of a scenario. I guess it would be. I guess my first thought is that it would be similar to cooking with wood chips. I think, and I think you'd probably have to use a lot of pellets, in order to get the desired effect that you want. So I don't know. I don't know if that would be super effective, but I could be wrong. So I don't know. That's I can leave it to Bruce to have some pretty good thought provoking questions. So I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts about that. All right, Bruce says, always a great show. Everyone have a great weekend and get ready for our upcoming March Madness challenge. So again, okay, so Bruce is talking about a challenge that we have underway inside of the Backyard Smoke Master Society. And I hope the guys that are in the society do take on the challenge. There's 2 rounds. And basically, it's just kind of like March Madness. We're gonna get in there. You're gonna show off what you're cooking. And for each round, we'll vote, and then the winners will move on to the last round, and then hopefully, we can come out of this thing with a winner, and there might actually be a prize. So I know I got a couple of society brothers who are here on the call right now. So definitely calling out both correctional officer and Jeff. Make sure you guys, get into that challenge, and show off what you're cooking. I think that can be a lot of fun. And correctional officer says, I know Jeff is going to be with a surprise team. Okay, now I think you're talking real March Madness. So of course, I'm decked out, in my USC gear, and yes, that is a nod to March Madness, but it's for the women. I'm very much into the women, the Lady Trojans, Juju Watkins, lighting it up. So I can't wait to see, what they do this year. And the tourney last year, I think we made it to the final 8. Had a classic matchup with Connecticut. Went down, but that was her freshman year. So I think I'm hoping Final Four. I'm hoping Final Four this time around. All right. Let's see. All right, guys. Well, again, I do appreciate, as always, everyone's participation into the show. And I wanted to show. Here we go. All right. So again, if you haven't already, please take a moment, if you made it this far into the episode, to make sure you like the video, the podcast. Also, if you're listening, on a replay, maybe you're listening to the podcast with, Apple or Spotify or whatever you use to listen to your podcast, do me a favor and leave a review. I think that would really help us out. Leave a review if you're listening to us on the replay. And then, of course, if you're watching us live on YouTube or Facebook, always appreciate that. Share, tell others about what we're doing here. Love your support. All right. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Have a fantastic weekend. Put it in the comments. If you have any other thoughts, we can keep the conversation going. And have a great weekend. The season is about to change. I think spring is right around the corner. Maybe next week. I'm not really sure. We're already into daylight savings time, so we got longer days. Hopefully the weather is getting better where you are, so No time like the present to get out there, enjoy your grills and smokers. Cook something this weekend. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend. This is Kenyatta Robinson signing off for the Backyard Smokemaster Barbecue Podcast. Take care, and I'll see you next week.